Hey folks, how's it going? This is Cole Ford with Real Progressives from the heart of the Dairyland here in Wisconsin. So we at Real Progressives bring these clips to show the public how to activate with the knowledge of public money. Because let's face it, without the knowledge of public money and how the federal government is financed, we have no way to be able to fight effectively against the oligarchy. We have programs that we want. We want policy. We want change. We want public purpose. And we want the federal government to spend money to help folks. So this next clip is with Luke McGregor with Lukenomics. He's talking about the Australian dollar, but you can substitute anything with Australia with US, and it's the same exact thing. And he explains the use of public money and how it works for Australia, which is the same. So these guys are pretty funny, and they do a wonderful job of putting the sexy in MMT. So enjoy the clip, and don't forget to check out our new website, realprogressives.org. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And if you feel like supporting independent media, check us out at patreon.com/realprogressives and become a monthly donor or a single day donor, however you want to do it. So we really appreciate you guys watching. And without further ado, here you go.
The government has been spending a lot lately. Re-upped JobKeeper and JobSeeker support packages and a cool $270 billion on defence. Tonight, our economics correspondent Luke McGregor is here to answer the question, is the government racking up billions and billions in debt future generations will have to pay back? Can the Australian government run out of money?
Hi, Charlie. No, they can't. The first thing to understand is the government is not like a household. A household has a certain amount of money, and if they want to spend more than that, they have to borrow it. The government, however, can spend currency into existence.
Yo, I'm the government. Are you saying I have infinite money?
I'm saying you can spend an unlimited amount of Australian dollars into existence.
Let's build some fighter jets, baby!
What do I mean by spend into existence? I'm now going to talk to you about the very sexy sounding modern monetary theory. Modern monetary theory, or MMT, follows that a government that issues its own currency, like Australia with the Aussie dollar, the US, Japan, these governments won't run out of money the way a household can. It's not so much that the government doesn't have to pay for stuff, it's more that the government doesn't need our taxes to pay for stuff. For example, when you see a doctor to get your once-a-week mole check, the Reserve Bank processes that payment on behalf of the government, currently $36.30. Now, the government allocates a dollar amount each year to Medicare. So does that mean, at a certain point, if enough people visited the GP, this would happen? Ooh, I'm sorry, sir. It looks like Medicare has run out of money this year. You'll have to pay full price. That would never happen. The RBA will never bounce a government cheque because, as MMT states, the government can create currency. It's just changing numbers on a screen. So if the government can create currency, is there a limit on how many Aussie dollars the government can spend? According to MMT, no. There are consequences, but no limit. You want fully funded healthcare? You got it. You want to spend billions more on defence? Sure. A gold statue of Scott Morrison in every town? Easy. What's the catch? Inflation. If the government spends so much that it overheats the economy, we risk increasingly higher prices. What's important to remember though is that government spending doesn't cause inflation directly. For example, JobKeeper represents a huge increase in currency being poured into the economy, but it hasn't impacted the inflation rate. In fact, the RBA is currently worried the inflation rate will remain too low. Now, let's say JobKeeper was suddenly raised to $1 billion a week each, and this led to people spending faster than the economy could churn out stuff they wanted to buy. Then we could see prices increase, but only if the economy couldn't churn out stuff fast enough. I know what I would buy if I had $1 billion each week. I can't wait to see what the editor puts in the thought bubble. So, if the government can create currency to pay for things, why do we need taxes? Well, according to MMT, taxes serve several purposes, including...
I got this, loser. 1. Taxes create a demand for the government's currency. In our case, the Aussie dollar.
One of the reasons we're not all using Bitcoin right now is because the ATO won't accept it as payment.
2. Taxes are a way to change behaviour.
Like a tax on cigarettes.
3. Taxes can decrease spending to help control inflation.
If the government raises our taxes, we can't spend as much. Basically, taxes...
And 4.
So, taxes take Aussie dollars out of the economy and government spending puts Aussie dollars back in. So a deficit boosts economic activity and a surplus slows it down. Neither one of them is good or bad, that's just the impact they have. Before I continue, here's a quick video of a dog riding a skateboard to thank you for sticking with me up until this point. MMT has its critics, but it doesn't have feelings, so it'll be fine. What's exciting about MMT is that it highlights the often underutilised powers the government has through the use of its currency to maximise the quality of life of its citizens. So in summary, the government isn't like a household. So when you hear politicians saying they've balanced the budget or they're trying to sell you a mug that says we're back in black, don't pat them on the back too hard, because you'd find it a lot easier to pay your bills too if you had access to unlimited Australian dollars.
Tonight's lesson comes to us courtesy of our friends down under, because as many of you know, like Australia, like China, like the UK, like Japan, et cetera, the United States is a monetarily sovereign nation, which means they're the issuer of their own currency. So the US dollar comes from the US government solely. That's the only place it can come from. So if you follow the logic, there's no real reason the US government would ever be in debt in denominations of their own currency or need to borrow their own currency from China or whoever. It's just silly, and I guess this is the reason this is so important with a lot of the tenets of MMT is, well, I was watching a sports ball game last night and my New Orleans Saints got pounded by the Packers, so paying my penance. But there was a political commercial, a lot of political commercials, but one of them, it was a pro-Biden commercial, and the big attacks on Trump were that he's blowing up the deficit and he's going to eliminate a tax that pays for like 50% of Social Security funding or something. And Biden says he's going to fight to save that tax to fund that program. And in addition, he's going to raise taxes on corporations and the wealthy specifically to pay for like better schools and programs and things like that. And it just blew my mind. I mean, I think most people would watch that and say, oh yeah, it seems reasonable. Well, that's how my budget works. But that's the thing we have to understand. The federal government's budget is very different from our budget. They have different rules, responsibilities, and the long and short of it is that the federal government of any monetarily sovereign nation is not restrained by the amount of currency or funding, I guess, it has for its programs. It's restrained by real resources. So, things like skilled labor and precious metals and time is a big one that, have to be taken into account. But the spending of the currency on it is, that's the one resource that monetarily sovereign nations will never run out of, is their own currency. Like the United States will never run out of dollars. It will never be in a position to where it has to borrow dollars or it's in debt in denominations of dollars and is paying interest on this debt or any nonsense like that. And I just wish that more people were watching these political commercials and hearing these talking points about blowing up the deficit and tax revenues to pay for programs, and would just, it's like if we all knew today, we could call this stuff out. And we could go to these, these people that claim to represent us, and we could say, we know this is bullshit. The jig is up. Let's start spending the public purse on the public. Either way, it's a great video. A real quick 5-minute MMT lesson. And hey, if you're digging the content, you want to learn more, maybe help us out, head on over to our website, realprogressives.org. Man, it is a fancy ass website with a vast wealth of resources at your fingertips. Also, our YouTube channels have a lot of great stuff. Our Facebook pages are always real interactive and current event based. We're in with the Twitter gang. We're working on TikTok, Instagram. Go check out Rockfin. That's a growing community. It's really great, a real grassroots kind of thing. And please feel free to throw us a few bucks to help out the cause via Patreon and or a one-time donation at PayPal. The links will be in the notes. We're arming people for the battles of the future. So again, thank you for your patronage. Thanks for hanging with us. Enjoy your evening, folks. I'm Commie John signing off from the Red Basement and Rebel headquarters. This is Real Progressives. Each one, teach one.